Go, it says. Hi, everybody. Welcome back. It's raining here. Like Mother Nature said, oh, you poor things, what you need is rain. And we're still mopping up the floors from last week. Thanks, Mom. So I'm going to take a quick sip of the restorative beverage. And it says right here, after I said, hi, everybody, welcome back, it says, now live. What do we do when fun becomes ho-hum? It says it right there beside my screen. So good morning, everybody. Hello. Good evening, wherever we are. I know I say this every time. The thing is, I'm not wrong. Okay. I use Facebook as the place where I pre-post that we're on in 5, And on Facebook, I always use images to go with the text. So you can either see it, or you can read it, or you can put the two together. And the picture I used this morning was Sam and Ralph at the end of the day. And we have the sheepdog holding the wolf out over the edge of a cliff at arm's length by the throat. And the sheepdog has turned his head because the 5 o'clock quitting time bell is just gone. Whistle is gone. He's like this. And the wolf is like this. And I use that because it's one of my favorite images. Clearly, I was raised by coyotes and roadrunners and sheepdogs and wolves, and rabbits. What I love about that cartoon is the relentlessness and the ponderousness and the methodicalness of the way they show up for work. And the way, once the whistle blows, it is mayhem. It is utter bedlam. And it is, a fight to the death every 5 minutes. And the thing is, it's such an incredible metaphor for everything that when I saw it, I thought, yes, this is spirit stuff going on here. And when I saw it this morning, I thought, it is the everydayness of their extraordinary that captures me all the time. I mean, they show up with a lunchbox, right? And then they proceed to kill each other each day, all day. And then, good morning. Well, good morning, Paul. I need to talk to you, young man. I need to talk to you about something. Not this, although this is good too. The idea that this chaotic life and death struggle has become a 9 to 5 is the point today. It's the point of what I'm talking about today. And not only do I have a brilliant hack, it's everything I've been working on for the last 7 years and probably my entire life. So with all of that said, enough of the teasing and the toying with you. Hang on a second. I read one of these motivational guys who said, when you love it, it's always fun. When you love it, it's never work. When you love it every day, you leap out of bed all excited. You rush off madly in all directions when you love it. The thing is, we can't sustain maximum rush. It just doesn't happen. You don't see a wave breaking on the beach interminably, right? It builds, it rises. Wham! Okay, but it has to go away now. It has to go away now and have an aspirin because that was real. I think a minute and say, what was I thinking? And maybe next time I'll do it this way. And the idea that we don't recognize that, the idea that we are so caught up in our momenta, which is a bunch of momentums, right? We get caught up in our momenta that we forget that everything is a process. Everything is an arc. When you watch a movie, there's a character arc. There's a plot arc. The hero begins like this, and then he goes through an epiphany of some kind, and at the other end, he's different. He's changed. That's why we want to go see the movie. The secondary and the tertiary characters, they don't change. They're the foil. The bad guy is always the bad guy. The good guy is always the good guy. And it is through that maze that our hero comes up against things and falls flat and gets back up and says, where was I? We forget this, even while we're living it, that anything magical always becomes ho-hum if we do it all the time. The magic is the firstness of it. Opening night of anything. The anticipation, the expectation, the wave rising, the momentum of the ocean, everything opening night, overture, that whole thing is so exciting. And we open, ta-da! And we go through it, and it feels like it's gone in a blink. And at the end of it, the audience cheers and applauds and roars and throws small relatives. And I mean, it's amazing. The really interesting trick is the second night. And in fact, there is an actual thing that happens on second night. I lived it. My mentor, who had been involved in theater for decades, and he had a television series, and he'd done amateur stuff. He'd studied it in college. He also studied psychology, and you put those two things together, and oh my God, well, good morning, Warren. Oh, it's lovely to see you. How are you? Give me at least one thumbs up, I hope. So yeah, Paul. Opening at butterflies, that's the adrenaline, not knowing where to go, right? All that stuff. I had a friend who used to go in the bathroom at backstage at the theater and turn on the fan so he could have a primal scream moment. He came out, first time he did it, he came out and I said, you need to tell people you're going to do that. Because I didn't know if you were going to be making it on stage, this primal scream. Echoing through the hallways of the theater. The audience out front, what was that? Did you hear something? So how we forget it is this. We save up to get that thing we want. We decide that we've been good. We decide we deserve a prize, or we deserve a treat. We have a couple of spare bucks, and we go and buy our favorite treat. Whatever it is, don't care, right? It's our favorite treat because it's special, because we can only have it once in a while. If we have it 3 times a day, 7 days a week, 52 weeks a year, I guarantee you it's ho-hum. I guarantee you could still love it. An old classmate of yours gets sick before every opening. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely, Paul. And you know what that is? That's he hasn't figured out how to ride his adrenaline. In one of our many future talks, I'll explain to you about that whole thing. It's a very interesting technique. It's very cool when you master it. You think, well, how long has this been going on that I didn't know? And then you can tell your friend. So cool. Anyway, the whole idea is if it's your special treat, you can only have it once in a while. Part of the deliciousness of it, whether it's something that you eat or something you wear or something you do, part of the deliciousness is that it's rare. It's something that you have to wait for and anticipate and get all excited about and figure out what to do with it. Like, is it food? What are we having? And what am I, and who am I with? And all that. It's magic. The whole thing is magic. But if it's what is for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and you open the fridge and you open the cupboard and there's nothing but that treat in there, after a while, what you really, really want is something that takes your breath away, which means we have to learn how to take our breath back and do other things and enrich ourselves other ways. And in equal size and impact and proportion to the treat aspect, there is also the anger aspect, the helpless rage aspect, the out of control aspect, that if only once in a while somebody says, hey, let's bungee jump, and you forget what it felt like last time and you say, yeah, okay. And then it's as the person puts their hand on your back, as they do that, and you feel the energy coming through their arm to you, that's when you remember, why you didn't do it again. It's that moment. And in that moment, here's your adrenaline push, Paul. The adrenaline goes woof. And as you jump off or are pushed off a perfectly legitimate bridge with something tied to your ankle that was put there by somebody whose middle name you don't know, and you have no adequate blackmail stuff that you can hold over their heads. And now you're in the hands of the gods who are standing there going, I don't know, what? Are you going to look at, really? Or they're all standing there going, this is always so cool. What an idiot, right? It's one of those. We're not in control then. Not that we're ever really in control, but we're not behind the wheel then. We've become a spectator. We're sitting 5 rows back on the manic depressive tours bus. There's a cartoon of it in the New Yorker, manic depressive tours. It says on the side of the bus, and everybody's in the bus like this. There's no wheels on the bus. It's just sitting there, but they're all. It's right. Where I'm going with this is, it isn't artificial. You don't have to generate excitement. That's natural. That is the positive, benign side of survival. That is the tame version of I don't have to run faster than the bear. I have to run faster than you. That's the only thing. It is an ancient subconscious fight or flight, live or die, except that it's benign, except that it's a pony at the circus, except that it's cake, except that it's a first date, right? And the anticipation of is everything. The thing is, if you're on the Serengeti and you can always outrun that old lion, then there's no adrenaline, there's no scream, there's no oh my God, what happens next? We're not sitting on the edge of our seats in the scary movie. We're watching Bambi, for heaven's sake. So how do we put all of that back into our lives? I know what you mean, Paul. With see, meeting a client for the first time, face to face, before you discover the size of diva they are, awesome. Right before, about 5 minutes later, you think, oh, gay. I'm here for how long? Great. So the conversation today is how we can spontaneously shift out of ho-hum. How can we spontaneously shift into woohoo? How do we do that? And everybody is talking today about something that has been going on forever. That's got a new name, fabulous new name, new branding. All these motivational people are rewriting all their stuff and putting new logos on it, slogans and stuff. Same deal. They're still getting it backwards. And I know that they're getting it backwards for one of two reasons. Either they don't know what they're doing, which I highly doubt, or the other is the longer you stay with them for the training that won't quite work, the more money we all make, right? I think that's probably it. And I don't want to burst people's bubbles, but I do want to be the agent of change. Agent? Sorry. There's no trumpet, so I can't. What I want to do is I want to help you realize that the tools are your tools. They're in your toolbox. None of us automatically know that there is a toolbox, that there are tools in it, and where the box is. And even when we find it, the toolbox, and we open it in their tools, unless it's an instruction booklet, we're pretty much screwed. So my conversation today, when it's fun, when it's ours, it's awesome. So what do we do when that feeling is gone? I have a friend who's working for a company that is very challenging. And it's not challenging in an exciting way. It's challenging in a 6 degrees separation from mediocrity, which becomes the state that a lot of people, places, and organizations arrive at. And to get to this conversation about my friend and the company, I want to explain something to you. A long time ago, I wrote a book, a business book, and I can't find it. I've put it somewhere. It's called Market Centrics, and it's the idea is that you focus on your market and you find out what they want and like truly want what they're really craving, and you give them that. You know, there's a famous quote by Henry Ford that if he'd asked people what they want, they would have said faster horses. So he didn't do that. He found another way to do that. He found a way to get a lot of fast horsepower inside a small container. And when you got in there and it was raining, you stayed dry. So he achieved their goal, but not their immediate idea of what that goal looked like. And that's our job. Harvard professor, friend of mine, once said, to understand the mind of an entrepreneur, you absolutely have to understand the mind of a juvenile delinquent. And I laughed hysterically because I'm an entrepreneur and he's not wrong. He's not wrong. And the mind of a juvenile delinquent is somebody who looks at pretty much anything. And the first thought is, I can do that better. I don't care if I break the rules. My friend, my talented friend, breaks the rules all the time to achieve his outcome. He doesn't break the rules in a way that are illegal. He just breaks the rules of conformity. Well, we don't do it. People like us don't do it like that. Yeah, I know, but you're taking a week and I just fixed it in 5 minutes. So people like you may not, but people like me do. And here we are. And now I have 6 other things to take care of because you're still doing it the slow way. And therein lies his frustration with the company he's with, because they have lost sight of whoever their genius brain was. Good morning, Vern. Lovely to see you. My sound feed is breaking up. As long as people are happy, Vern, that's the point. And there's Schumann resonance, which is magnetic, and there's weather. So what is important to realize about ourselves is who and what we are. Am I a rebel? Am I a juvenile delinquent? Am I an innovator? Am I an idea person? Yeah. Can I also execute? Yes. That's unusual. Do I know when to say, I don't know what I'm doing? Yes, I do. Can I always find the person who does? No, I can't. And am I a little bitter about that? Only a little. And so then I keep inventing other ways to do it. People say, that's not how it's done. I know that. Can you find me somebody? No, then shut up. If you're not helping, get out of the boat. So how funny it is to watch me talking when you can't be heard. That's called mute button, right? So today what I'm talking about is this. There are spontaneous moments of pure joy. And oh my God, how we love them. Our spontaneous moments of pure joy are the reason we came. The thing is, we also have the talent and the ability to learn how to refresh what we did and how we did it, to feel the rush of joy again. Not in the same way, not for the exact same reason, but we're not looking for the actual specific taste of this or feel of that or sound of the other. We're looking for the ah. And when we can't find it, or we don't think we have time for it because, we have a lot of work to do. We have a lot of work to do. We're idiots because the joy is the point. And of course we have work to do. And if we're feeling the joy, it doesn't mean we're not doing good work. In fact, it's the opposite. when we're feeling the joy, we're doing the best work. You know, my image of Pivotry in motion is the birds breaking free of chains that have encased them and flying toward the sun. Beautiful sunrise, and these birds flapping their way to freedom. That's the joy. The joy gave them the impetus, the power, and the energy to break free of the ho-hum. The ho-hum was holding us back. The ho-hum was our decision to put stuff first and situate us last. It's not how it's meant to work. People who buy a ticket to come into town to sit on a hard seat and face the front and watch us on stage are not doing this to hear or see or grasp what hard work it is. They had hard work all day. They're coming, they're investing to feel the magic that we produce. And the people who are coming tomorrow, who bought a ticket, who are getting in the car and coming downtown and finding parking, they want their moment of magic too. It's our job to figure out how to bring that magic on second night and third night and fourth night and all the nights after that and the days. We get to figure that out. And here's what everyone's getting wrong. Everybody's thinking we have to reach for joy. We have to reach for that moment. It's not true. It's the exact opposite. The moment is in here. You know, when you kiss somebody who is an amazing kisser and you think that it's them that made the foo go off in your head, no. Well, it's a combination. You brought you, they brought them. It's a combination. Always. Might as well kiss a piece of paper or a pillow if it isn't that, right? So this is what I want to tell you about the way people are selling themselves short. We are teaching ourselves to believe that we are here to do something. And that something is more important than being who we are, fully present, in flow, as they say, in the zone, as they say. And here's the thing. Nurse Macintosh, like the apples, you can't do it well if you're not in the zone. You can't be in the zone if it's not about you. You have to be in it. And the thing will get done, will be done brilliantly. If you're not in it, if it's a job, and I have 5 more minutes till quitting time, the outcome and how you feel about it is where you get the ho-hum. You don't have to do more to be more. You have to stop chasing an outcome. The outcome is right here beside you. The outcome is you. It's not a thing, it's you. The outcome is you. And you have chosen to do this, then do it to 100%. And every time, it'll be amazing. Because that's physics. It's the way it works. It's science. There are laws of science that are unbreakable. You can change stuff. You can't change the laws of the universe. They are immutable. So the big tool is this. Abby is a charter member cum laude in the colors of my life. A new TV show idea. Exactly, but on 65-inch TV, it could become a series. Okay, really? 65. I am a walking series for And you have no idea how close you are to something that's right there, right there. Unlock you. Yes, aha, you see? Here you go, Paul. Here you go. You don't have to unlock you. You were never locked. What you have resolutely done is you've piled up a bunch of crap outside the door. Door's not locked. Not only that, the door opens in. You've been listening to the wrong people. So I want to show you this. So this is the later folder, and I talk about it all the time. And it's not because I can't shut up about it. It's because it works. That's why yeah. So here's what we do. Okay. You wake up in the morning, and before your brain has had a chance to say, now what? You wake up in the morning and you just take a second, take 2 seconds and breathe and say, good morning. That's it. Don't say thank you. You don't have to meditate. You don't have to reach a higher something or other. Just say, good morning. You're saying it to your inner you. You're saying it to the inner person who is always with you. Your inner child, your inner Viking, your inner rebel. Good morning. And if you just sit there, lie there for a couple of seconds, you're going to feel it saying good morning back to you. And it's crazy that you don't say good morning, that we don't say good morning to the inner us, because the inner us is with us. The inner us is driving the bus. It's rude not to say good morning. It's right there. Good morning. And then just so when you do it tomorrow, you can also do it at night. Go to bed, everything's done. Just lie there and you say good night and wait for it. Some point, part of you, the inner voice is going to say, you've been listening to Abby, haven't you? Yes. Why? Do you know something I don't? So you say good morning and good night to the part of you that is always with you. The part of you is saying, where's the stick shift on this thing? And that's how you start your day. People feel rudderless right now. They feel that somehow, some way, while they were asleep, their little boat got untied from the dock. There's no rudder. There's no fuel in the gas tank. And I don't believe there's an oar. It's not true. It's not true at all. What is true is that we didn't do the checklist before we got in the boat. So we're not sure. And as soon as we're not sure, we assume the worst, because subconscious brain says, if it's different, if it's strange, and I don't know what to do, we're all going to die. It's that brain's job. That's its job. But originally that job was back when we lived in caves, and right outside the cave, there was a saber-tooth whatnot. So what we have, there's this little spammy thing that comes up anyway. Try to remember the colors of my life. When I do that, by the way, for those of you who have just joined me, when I suddenly say something that has nothing to do with anything, I'm reading a comment, and I see them. So camera, I see you there. I see me right below. And then over here, all the way down the side of the screen, I'm seeing all your lovely comments. So I can just look over and read it quickly and say, what? And so if I appear to be scattered, that is partially true, but I have reasons. I have an excuse, right? I have a note. So when we begin our day and we end our day, we end it with the person who's been with us all day. So we say good morning and we say good night. And if we actually made it back to bed in one piece, we could also say, thank you. What a ride. And then we can go to sleep. We can give thanks for a lot of things. We don't have to list them. The important thing that we are not told, or if we are told, we weren't listening, or it wasn't explained in the right way for us to hear it and process it, is that how we feel isn't out there. It isn't created by someone else. Something happens, someone happens, we perceive it. And through our filters of our past experiences, we put values on it. We are the ones who decide that a dog is scary or adorable. On the other side, it's a dog. Okay, it's a dog. Dog's just here. We are the ones who interpret it, who translate it. What we bring to us, what we give to us, we create it as our perception of that. So when good morning, Freddie. Oh, I'm so glad you made it. Excellent. So what I'm talking about today is finding the joy. And we don't have to go looking for it. What we do is we clear away the clutter. You picture you didn't do anything with your laundry except dump the hamper out on the floor. Picture that. That's your visual. Okay, somewhere underneath all the laundry piled on the floor is your joy. You don't have to go get the joy. You have to move the laundry. We get to remove the stress. We don't have to search for happiness. It's there all the time. It's always there. But we've overlaid it with all kinds of layers of nonsense stress. We've allowed our barnacle buddies to attach to us, and they're creating drag because we're trying to swim through the ocean of life, and there's all these barnacles saying, woohoo, free ride. And we need to get rid of them. We need to scrape them off our backs so that we are free to be exactly how cool and fabulous and sleek we are, right? That's the whole thing. And I have not found a motivational trainer, coach, person, guide, whatever they call themselves, who has got it right. You don't have to raise your vibration. It's already up there. We came with it up there. What we have to do is put down all the crap we're carrying. If you have nothing heavy in your hands, your shoulders aren't slumped. If you're not preoccupied with something unhappy, your shoulders aren't slumped. We're not built with slumped shoulders. The only reason they get that way is because we're carrying stuff. Disappointment. Suitcases. I always pack too much when I move. I don't know what it is. I go away for 3 days, I pack 17 outfits because you never know. And a suitcase is heavy. Anything to declare? Yes, somebody else needs to pack for me because I'm out of control. So how do we, okay, blather, 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 Abby, where is, oh yes, good morning, Freddie. I'm not directly on YouTube. I can see the comments later. I can only see the comments here. And I think it's through Facebook. I think that's why. But I see the comments on YouTube. I see all the comments later. This is the one that's immediate. So, and I just learned that the other day too. So there we are. So how do we set aside the stuff? Okay, so back in the day, in my parents' day, when you went to the airport, if you had a quarter, there were storage lockers. You put a quarter, you open the door, and you could put stuff, close the door, and pull out the key. And now you had a key and you left your baggage in the locker, so you can go and have breakfast and lunch and dinner while the planes are being de-iced and refueled. You don't have to carry around the bag with you. So this, in effect, is that process. But I've called it the later folder because I've made it to be, I've made it to be exactly the size of your cell phone. So you can't tell me, I haven't got any place to put it. Yeah, you do. Put it where the phone is. And so inside it, it's just a little folder. So it's lined pages, right? Lined pages, nothing on it. And so, because you can personalize it and you write today's date. And how it works is you break your everyday into sections, right? So the getting up part, the getting ready part, the eating the house part, the leaving the house part, the commute to the place of work part, the work part, and then repeat in reverse, right? Every one of those little sections of your day when you end each section, when you got yourself all ready and you're getting ready to go and eat and do whatever in the house, write down anything that got in your way, that didn't work the way you had thought it would work. You know, you set out something you were going to wear, you didn't realize there was a stain on it, and now you have to pick something else to put on. Okay, that's a delay. That's frustrating. You didn't look. Why didn't I look? You're yelling at yourself. Write it down. You know, wrong shirt. It's not what is wrong with you. It's the wrong shirt. That's it. But you write it down. And you write down, I broke an eyeliner pencil. I had to sharpen it because I didn't have another one, because I've ordered it and it hasn't come yet. Write it down. Eyeliner, pencil. Write down every little thing that didn't go as planned. And then when you get to the bottom of the list, you draw a line under it. And above the line is what you deal with when? Later. Later. Everything above the line is in that storage locker that you put the quarter in the door of. You take the key out. You're going to put the key in your pocket. You're not going to deal with your baggage until later. Great. Now you've got a clean page from here to do the next thing, to have breakfast or not. Get ready to leave the house. At the end of that, what went wrong? Well, the lid wasn't on the blender. Okay, then. Blender lid is all you need to say. Try to falling on my phone, wouldn't chat. Okay, excellent. See, Freddie, you found a solution. There's always a solution. Instead of screaming and yelling, you said, wait a minute, I have a phone. Ta-da. So, and by the way, everybody, Freddie among us has figured out ways to use his brain, his considerable brain, to sort out problems the rest of us would only look at and think, oh, look, it's Mount Everest. I'll go this way. Freddie is a force of nature. We love that about you, Freddie. So now we have nothing below the line, right? So we get to start again. What happened in the kitchen? Blender? Fine. Get to the door. We have most of the from the blender. We're good. Maybe put the shirt on backwards and wear a jacket. See? We're at the door. Write it all down. Draw a line. Onward and upward. And all the way through the day. What are you doing when you do that? You are clearing your brain. You are getting rid of the heavy weight that is slumping your shoulders and holding you back and stopping you. You're choosing to hold on to that stuff. You are stopping you from celebrating the sheer joy of the thing you love to do. Not on purpose. It just becomes a habit. It just becomes a habit. And it becomes a habit because of one thing we forget to do. And I'll tell you about it in a second. So all the way through the day, as we go through, we write the stuff down to get it out of the way so that we can give full focus to this next thing. And at the end of the day, back home, after everything, after every part of the day, we take out the book, we get a pen, a weapon of mass construction, and we go through it. And we look at every single point that we wrote down. And if it still triggers us, we circle it. If it no longer triggers us, because it's just, oh yeah, that's right, I got to get to this. Draw a line through it. Why? Because we have the power to override stress. The proof is we just did. That eyeliner pencil thing or the dirty shirt is no longer a trigger. We no longer feel tonight now reading the note the way we felt in the moment. That means we win. Cross the line, cross the line, cross the line, all the way through the day. When you get to the bottom and you look back at the things that you circled that you still got a bit of a thing about. Okay, that's important to know. It means that there's something you can recognize that is a pattern, and patterns only come from a hidden habit that we didn't know we have. So there is a solution. That is why this folder is so big a help to you. This is not a to-do list. It's not a to anything. It's a point-by-point record of how we navigated our day. They are mile markers. We write them in the captain's log. You know, when you navigate with a ship, the obstacles that we can't see below the surface, they shift, they move. That's why all the big ships that come into harbors, the harbor master sends out someone who is familiar with the lay of the under part of the harbor. And the person they send out, the pilot officer, pilots the ship past the new hidden obstacles to dock safely. It is the harbor master's, in his best interest, her best interests, to get the ships in and out smoothly, unscathed. It's worth it to them to have this expert take over, take the reins, because the captain of the ship has all the other work to do. They can't possibly become expert at that. So we are doing the same thing. The later folder is our pilot officer, helping us navigate the fresh day with fewer obstacles and less damage. And the reason that matters so much, I want to go back to the juvenile delinquents among us. When we had a brilliant idea and we fell in love with it, and we were excited, and we did all the work and all the effort to create. Exactly, clearing house fear thoughts. Exactly, Freddie. You don't need to throw stuff away. You just need to get it out of the way. That's all. For now, you can use it later. There's nothing like repetitive, mundane, exhausting small tasks to steal, to dull, to override the anticipation of success. The entrepreneur, the rebel, thrives in a state of uncertainty, thrives with challenge, thrives at the possibility of reinvention and leverage. They are not wired for report every day at exactly the same time and do exactly the same 17 things in the same order. I had a temp job once, and I worked for a very, very highly placed person in the government. I live in Ottawa, right? Capital of Canada. And the fellow I was working for, because his secretary was pregnant, so I was his temporary secretary for all those months. I walked in one day and he said, "I need you to take a letter." And I said, "Well, what the hell did you do with the letter I gave you yesterday?" And he said, "That's not how this works." And I said, "Well, there's something wrong with the system then. How many more of these letters do I have to do?" He said, "That's your job." I said, "Why? Why can't we get somebody in to do that job?" He said, "We did. It's you. Take the letter." Fine then. But the thing is, I was messing with him, right? I knew perfectly well what the job was. The thing is, well, good morning, Daniel. But when I did that, he's sitting there. It's like the school teacher, Mr. What was his name on You Can't Do That? Where does the school board find them, and why do they send them to me? This poor guy. "How did we get you?" And I said, "You're just lucky is how you got me." And then I would take the letter and I would come back and I would say, "Here you go." And sometimes I would do a bogus letter for him to look at and say, "We can't send that." And I said, "Oh, how about this one then?" What was I doing? I was bringing him back to his element. And his element was this genius way of stepping back and seeing what people were just about to do and preempt them, to get around in front of them, to come up with a solution before they'd even caused the problem. That was his genius. And when he got, run down, and he came in, and he said, well, my wife this and the kids that, and I don't know, we had the dog at the vet. My God, I should have I think I'm going to open a veterinary clinic. I'll make more money than I make here. And all of that stuff was robbing him of his joy because he allowed it. He made the decision to make those things more important, more serious, more immediate than the other stuff, than the him stuff. And so this Harvard professor, a friend of mine, who says to understand the mind of an entrepreneur, you need to understand the mind of a juvenile delinquent. What his second statement was, and then you have to get the juvenile delinquent to agree to let someone else drive the bus. And that's amazingly difficult for two reasons, and I'll explain them in a second. Until you remind the juvenile delinquent that bus driving isn't their superpower. Inventing better buses is. Well, I can't find anybody to drive it. You're not looking. You're focused on making sure it runs and it gets where you want it to go. Good. Take it for a test run and give me the keys. I'll find the driver. You invent something else. And so the CEO, the entrepreneur who becomes the confounded entrepreneur owner, he's totally frustrated because he fell into the trap of needing to control everything. If he's not careful, he ends up with no time left to be the magic he is. No time left to bring the magic she is. Because of all the barnacle buddies that he and she and we are unwilling to hand off to somebody else. At a certain point in time, you have to trust. Say, they have these jobs and there are people who fill them. I'm going to trust my ability to say, find that, fill that, let me know if it's working, and move on to the next amazing thing. The entrepreneur who settles down and finds a spouse, finds a partner, decides to live in a sensible place for all kinds of perfectly legitimate reasons, has to be careful. Because what that is, potentially, is a cage. There has to be an open door. The entrepreneur, the rebel, has to be able to break the rules. That's how they're wired. They don't have to commit crimes. They don't have to serve time. They have to have the freedom and the energy and the power and the focus to climb up to that 30,000 foot view and say, oh, you see, look, they're all doing it that way. And what you need to do is just go, and then it's perfect. And then come down, create the, and say everybody that way. And then move on. And we don't. Because nobody has ever said, here's how it works. And you have tools. And I have a map. I'm going to show you where the toolbox is. And I'm also going to show you where the instruction book is. And everybody, when you say that, says, oh, thank God. Really? Oh, thank you. So I'm having this conversation with someone who said, sometimes I just need to get away. And I said, well, everywhere you go, there you are. So what were you getting away from exactly? I don't know. I just got to get away from all of this. Then put it down. Well, I can't put it down. Why not? Well, who'll do it? Not your problem. If you're going to get away, if you're going to run, would you be wondering who was doing it? No, hell no. All right, then. Don't run. Walk away temporarily. And the things that are broken that won't work without you will surface. And the people who have happily allowed you to take care of everything will say, Oh gosh, when they said they needed help, they meant it. Holy crap, it's taking 6 of us to do what they did. We cannot be all things to all people all the time. And if we think we can, somebody taught us the wrong story. And you're watching Abby on 2 iPhones and my 65 all at once. Fern Fraser, glutton for punishment. So I don't want to go on and on and on as I am often want to do today, because it's raining and something very exciting is going to happen this afternoon and I have to start focusing on that. What I do want to say today is this. Pivotry in motion was the idea that came to me 7 years ago, when I saw all around me people who fell down and fell apart when the structures they were leaning on were closed, were broken. I couldn't understand why the people were falling apart. And the reason I couldn't understand it is because as a military kid, the structures that I leaned on changed every 15 minutes. They were here and they were gone. If you lean on it and fall down and get back up, and then you lean on it and fall down and get back up, at some point you say, okay, perhaps the leaning is the problem. Let's not lean. And the first few steps, like the first time you ride a bicycle without training wheels, right? It's a little wobbly, but you know what? Train to maintain, train to get to your state. Practice, ride the bike every day. Get good at it. Get somebody to hold the back of the seat. Tell them when you're ready for them to let go. Got to earn it to learn it. No, we already know what we're doing is we're polishing. What we're doing is perfecting. What we're doing is making a place in our heads and our hearts where the little voice says, go. That's what we're doing. And the people we see who are no longer smiling from the cheekbones up have either forgotten that or never knew. The people we see who aren't smiling from the cheekbones up used to be excited about a lot of things. And all of a sudden they woke up one day and they said, I don't know. Why? I don't know, it just isn't fun anymore. The reason it's not fun is you're tired. The reason it's not fun is that you have chosen too many things that have to come first. And I want to explain something very, very important. If you're not there to do those things, someone else will do them. That's how it works. We are not meant to sacrifice who we are at the altar of everyone else. It's not why we're here. Why we're here is to discover our potential. I wonder what happens when I do this. Oh my God. That's why we're here. We're here on missions of discovery to boldly go and not wear the red shirt. We are here as pioneers. We're not here as the guy who comes in twice a week to trim the hedge. That guy who comes in twice a week to trim the hedge, he has a life. He has his joys. And his superpower is his love of plants, his love of creating beauty in an outdoor setting. That's what he brings. If he forgets that, and he's focused on the fights with the in-laws and the cracked pavement and the fact that every time I buy sushi at the gas station, I have stomach aches, we're facing the wrong way. Do you know the Whiffam song? The Whiffam song? Yes. Whiffam stands for What's in It for Me. I'm here to help you profile you. Are you a rebel entrepreneur? Okay. Then I sincerely hope you love the mundane, repetitive task you're doing. Or you're going to end up like Ralph and Sam, who no longer have that mad, crazy glint in their eye when they show up for work and clock in. And the sheepdog and the wolf engage in eternal battle. If they're just phoning it in, they might as well stay home. Let the sheep look after themselves. I have a friend who's a musician. And there was a really amazing moment in his life when the band he was with was huge. Ride that cowboy, ride that wave. The band is no longer together. That moment passed. And now here he is. I attended an Air Force fighter pilots reunion once when I was quite young, registering the people. Two old to me then guys, both bald, calling each other Red and Curly. And I said, what was the best day ever? And they both told me days when they were up in the air, defying gravity and odds, and came out alive. And their eyes were twinkled and they were laughing and they were nudging each other. It's still the best day ever. And I said, what do you do now? Well, this guy sells carpets, and that guy is an accountant. But when they come to the reunions and when they get on the phone and when they get together on a regular basis, they're still up in the sky because they haven't forgotten the magic. They haven't forgotten that the joy is how we grow and how we flow. This is the new buzzword term for excellence and resilience and ideas and pioneering and magic. When we flow, we're like birds. We're like the ocean waves. We just got it going on. We can only do that when we set the baggage aside, when we untie ourselves from the dock and we chart a course and say, alrighty then, everybody, oars up, elbows up, let's go. Is it easy to do? It is. It's incredibly easy to do. Right after you choose. Right after you choose to say, I am not held hostage. I am not a volunteer. I am not here to serve. I'm here to thrive. That's how it works. And anytime you think otherwise, you're not having a great day. So therefore, the likelihood is that I'm right. And what my production partner and I have come up with in talking about how we explain this to people, and in talking to Liam McGuire, who is wired into all the top athletes, those people train to maintain every day. Why? Because they understand their gift is a precious thing. They don't assume it's just going to work by itself, because a gift isn't autopilot. A gift is excellence, and it's our excellence, and we bring it. We're not trying to achieve excellence. We are excellence. What we do in training is maintain our sharp focus, is maintain our decision to set things aside so that we are 100% here and now. We train every day. And what we call the training is 1 degree from flow. We are 1 degree from flow state. What is the 1 degree? Us. We're in it to win it, or we're in it to get out of the rain. And we make that decision every day. You couldn't know this if someone hadn't told you. This is something that we automatically do before we are even verbal. These are our primitive survival techniques and tactics that have been wired into our brains since we decided to climb out of the water and onto dry land. We have always had this ability. The reason we don't automatically tap into it is because that ability worked when we were only part of one tribe. We now have so many tribes, so many distractions, so many people saying, can you help me with this? And our instinct is to say, absolutely, sure. Yeah, I got you. Except that you can only juggle so many chainsaws. And you can't juggle that many on a slow day when you're just not up for it. When you ate that sushi you bought at the gas station, what is wrong with you? How did it happen the first time? I see. And you bought it again? Alrighty then. So what I'm saying to you, not as a mom, certainly, because I don't have a single molecule in me that is maternal. However, I do understand how deeply we need to feel that someone cares and someone has an urge to protect us and cherish us and nurture us. And part of their reason to do that is selfish. Part of the reason is because we are going to follow in their footsteps. And we want to make sure that they know how to navigate the path. That's not maternal, that's survival. So I'm here in my many capacity to say, I found the path. My producer is the one who keeps repairing the path. Comes back, yeah, we're good to go now. Tree fell. Got rid of it. How'd you get rid of it? Well, I got a chainsaw and I cut it up and then I sold it. Of course you did. What was that, 10 minutes? Yeah, I know, I'm off my game today. That's why I have my producer, because my producer is that guy. So this is what I want to leave you with today as we're coming into the weekend. We're coming into the weekend, and at the end of the weekend, next week, we're in the month of June. And that means that we have just entered the last month of the first half of this year. And what I want to empower us with, so that we are all working together with the same mood and attitude and direction and purpose and passion, is that we came here with all of these skills. We don't have to do more to be more. We have to give ourselves permission to prioritize and do less and do better, because we have the time, we have the focus, we have the energy to say, I deserve joy. The thrill of the chase, of the fun, of the adventure, of the experience, of the ups and downs, that thrill is mine. It's mine. And I'm hanging on to it. And I was talking to my producer, and I said, it's hard to find a good fit. The reason it's hard to find is you're not supposed to go chasing after it, looking for it. If you stand still long enough, you can see it. And that's how we get it wrong. Flow is who we are. Happiness and joy and fun and mischief are what is left when we get rid of everything that isn't. Michelangelo, asked by someone, supposedly, that's an incredible statue that you've done, that famous statue of the rearing stallion. How do you do that? My God, that must take a lot of work. Michelangelo, no, not really. All I do is I get a block of marble, and then I get a chisel, and I go over to the block of marble, and I chip away everything that isn't the horse. Because as I chip away, the horse comes into view. And he says to me, what took you so long? I am so grateful that you take the time to visit with me, to watch these videos, to get involved. I am so grateful that you see possibility for you in hearing about my adventures, some of which were catastrophically astonishing and others pretty cool. And I hope you are saying to yourself, see, what's great about this is I can find out what she did and not do that way, not do it that way, because clearly that way is unhelpful. That's the best part. And then when you're commenting, when you're chiming in, and we're even retired professional athletes, absolutely, Paul, absolutely. Everybody, because they, when you train to maintain, it feels good because you're taking care of you, you're pampering you. So I'm going to love you guys and leave you until next week. It'll be June, and we will have things to share and talk about and do. And in the meantime, I want you to be good to you. You deserve it. And everybody around you deserves that you are good to you too. Because when you are good to you, they get you in full bloom. And it's the least they deserve. So remember that. You're not just doing it for you. You're doing it for that rebel entrepreneur, that juvenile delinquent inside of you, who is never really doing it to just break the rule. That juvenile delinquent is doing it to feel the rush, to reach flow by ignoring all the mundane things. Is that wrong? Yes, it's wrong. There's other ways to do it, but you know what? They become our entrepreneurs, and we love them for it. And if you are one of those, we love you too. Remember, always hug your loved ones, because they count on you, they love you, and they deserve it. Okay? Is that a deal? Remember your later folder. Remember that you don't have to achieve flow. You are flow. All you have to do is let the crap go. Kick the baggage to the curb. Call a U-Haul. You are exactly who you're supposed to be right now. Get a Kleenex, get a paper towel, squirt some stuff on it, clean the mirror. There you are. Catch you next time. Paul, I'm going to reach out. Catch you next time.